It's puck time and my two favorite children, Alex Badass Smith and Andrew I Don't Shave McInnis.
What?
What's going on, boys? How are you? I'm feeling great. I'm groovy. I'm ready to rock. Alex?
Yeah, same here. I mean, we got, this is the push for the playoffs now. Every team's got 20 games or less, and it's just a fun time. If you're a hockey fan, you're a hockey bettor, just a sports fan in general. It's just, some good viewing, and like I said, we're going to try to make some money doing it as well.
Yeah, Andrew, 4-1 last night in your hockey plays, dude. Congratulations. You're in the zone right now. Get your pack up at SportsMemo ASAP, dude. You're on a roll. Come on. What do you think you do for a living? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, the trade deadline's finally over. We know where everyone is, and that's definitely kind of helped determine my plays for today. So right following this video, we're going to have some plays up, and I'm loving them as well. So 4-1 last night, getting going in the NBA and NHL right now. So this is kind of the push right now, Prez. I'm feeling it.
Alex, you're rolling as well, dude, and you're the $2 Tuesday over at sportsmemo.com. So, guys, if you want to try out Alex, his pay plays, so everybody understands, we get onto these shows, we go down the board every game, we give you our thoughts and opinions on every game, but most of the time we're only betting between 1 and 3 plays every day. Those bets are what we do for a living, and we sell them. Myself, I can be found at WagerTalk.com, Alex and Andrew at SportsMemo.com, and trust me, all three of us are big-time winners, especially in hockey. I'm on a 6-2 hockey run. I've got a 3-pack up at WagerTalk.com. Andrew's on a 4-1 run. Alex is rolling so much so that we singled him out to be the $2 Tuesday promo guy at Sports Memo. And if you want a week of all of our plays, just use the promo code NHL35. That's NHL35. Boys, listen, let's get right into it, okay? We got a lot of games on tap. I want to go through them all. We're going to start with the Flames and the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders, to me, are the surprise team of the entire league. They're 36-18 on the season. They're playing Calgary, who are 39-16. The money line is basically a pick 'em. The total is 6. I'm playing Calgary over 6 almost religiously, except they have not gone over 6 in their last 2 games. It was 2-1 in Ottawa, 2-1 in Anaheim, but they recently played the Islanders, and it was a 4-2 game. The Islanders just beat Vancouver 4-0, lost to Edmonton, but did put up a 3 spot. I like the over in this game. Alex, what do you think?
Well, like you said, you've been betting Calgary over religiously. That's a good religion to follow because they've cashed 17 of their last 23 over the total and 7 of their last 9 on the road. But I'm looking at Calgary here as a side play. You got, like you said, a couple of division-leading clubs. People expected Calgary to be toward the top of the Pacific Division. Like you said, no one expected the Islanders to be 2 points ahead of Washington in the Metro right now. But that's where they are. You got this Flames team coming in on a 5-game win streak. They already beat the Islanders, like you mentioned, 4-2. That was just 6 days ago. So could be kind of a bit of a rapid revenge. The Islanders have that on their minds, and they have played well at home. They've won in 8 of the last 9. But I like Calgary in this spot here. They're finally getting some solid goaltending, which is huge. We know the offense is going to be there, but when you got David Rittich and Mike Smith playing well, Mike Smith has played well against the Islanders in his career, 6-4 with a 2.61 goals against and a .913 save percentage. Also has a shutout against the Islanders in his career as well. So, the Islanders starting to look a little bit inconsistent offensively, and that's why we've seen them lose 3 of the last 4. As I said, you can't be inconsistent on offense against the Calgary team that could put up 5 or 6 goals on you before you know it. So I think the Flames extend their streak tonight. I like them, and my free play right up over at Sports Memo as well.
Andrew, 20 seconds or less, what do you like in this game?
Look, I know it's a goal scorers league, but I prefer the team that can keep things lower scoring consistently with strong goaltending. I'm impressed with Leonard these days, guys. I'm going to go with the Islanders at a decent price here. fair enough. Calgary hasn't fared well against the Islanders on the road, and that's fair enough for me to take the home team.
Andrew, who invited you onto this show?
Yeah, I forgot. We can't be on opposite sides, can we?
Yeah, we can, brother.
It messes everything up.
It's all good, dude. I like the over, and these two idiots disagree on the side. Andrew, let's go to the LA Kings. What a game they played last night against Tampa Bay. My God, yet they've still lost 8 games in a row.
No.
They're playing Carolina tonight. Carolina is minus 275. The over and under is 5.5. The bottom line here for me, Andrew, is the Los Angeles Kings blew their load last night, and it was a crappy orgasm.
Well, you know what? I was happy they did that because I had the over in that game, and it did not look good whatsoever. And they scored 3 straight goals, surprisingly, shocking the whole world. And then, of course, Tampa Bay scores one more, ties it up 3-3, sends it to overtime, and cashes my over ticket. But let's face it, I said this yesterday on our show, and I'll say it again. Somehow, some way, this Kings team is finding a way to cash over tickets, and we're still getting 5.5 with them. Guys, I think, I think there'd be a shot. I'm not going to take the huge minus 240 for Carolina, that's for sure. I would lean to the puck line, but it's still not great value. Again, look for the over. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, the Kings are scoring a little bit, and they're also getting scored on. I think we'll definitely be seeing some wacky celebrations in Carolina tonight.
Alex, look, I'm against Andrew here. I like the under in this game. I think the Kings are going to come out tired, and that affects the offense more than the defense. Carolina, they just won against Dallas 3-0. They did go over the total against Florida, but before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unders in a row. That's 7 unders in their last 8 games. I'm completely against Andrew's thoughts here. I like under the total in this game.
Well, I'll break the tie with that one. I like the over here, and the reason I like it, like I said,
Boo!
There's a lot of games. It's a lot of games, boys. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It is. But the reason I like it is because we said, yes, the offense will be affected more from the fatigue than the defense for the Kings. But the Kings' defense has just been terrible, whether they're, rested or tired or what have you. They've allowed 3 or more goals in 11 of their last 14 games. And Carolina's a team that we've seen them. The reason they play under is because they score, they get their 3-4 goals, but they're getting some decent goaltending. They're being responsible in their own end now, and that's something that they're going to need if they're going to try and make it into the postseason. I like the over here at 5.5. I also like Carolina team total over 3.5 at minus $1.05.
He's Alex Badass Smith, and the other guy doesn't shave. You can find them both at SportsMemo.com and me at WagerTalk.com. Alex, Buffalo last night looked good, man. I mean, I know they lost 5-3 against Toronto, and I did release the Leafs minus 1.5, but they were feisty as hell, and they were fast all over the ice. Their forecheck was great. Jack Eichel is definitely coming to his own, playing maybe his best hockey. Yet this team has still lost 5 of their last 6 games. They're on the road tonight, playing against Philadelphia. Philadelphia is minus 150. The over and under is 6.5. Look, Philly had a massive winning streak of late. They have lost 2 of their last 3, but still playing good hockey. Took Pittsburgh to overtime for a 4-3 win. Buffalo's got to be tired. Any team that is playing a back-to-back after they play a team with the speed of the Leafs or Calgary or Winnipeg or Tampa Bay, they just have to be tired in this game. I don't think there's enough value to bet Philadelphia here. I'd like to see it more around the minus 130 mark. I'm going to pass on this game, but if I had to bet it, I would take the Flyers at minus 150.
This is a spot here where I'll be looking at, and this is something I'm going to be looking at throughout the rest of the season and definitely into the postseason. We talk about the 3-way or the regulation line. I like the draw here at plus 290, and the reason I say that is because you got a Philadelphia team that's coming off of a huge win. They were outdoors against Pittsburgh at Lincoln Financial Field. Came from behind to win that game, winning in overtime as well. I think this could be a bit of a letdown spot for them. But then you look on the flip side, Buffalo, like I said, they've been competitive, but they're still losing. So you can't back Buffalo, except I'm not trying to lay that price with Philly, even though Philly is 13-4 of their last 17 games, and they've won 9 of the last 12 at home. I can see Philly winning this game, probably a 3-2 game. I can see this one going in overtime again. So I like the draw at plus 280.
Andrew, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, well, guys, this is where I actually agree with the whole system, Prez, about the back-to-backs. Sometimes a back-to-back, team being tired can deem to an over. Sometimes it can deem to an under. And what you said about them playing the Leafs last night couldn't be any more true. I mean, you're getting absolutely, pressured every time you have the puck. You're dealing with some of the most talented forwards, young players in the league with the Leafs. It kills me to say it, Prez, but it's true. And, I think on a back-to-back here, looking at this one, I was kind of surprised to see a 6.5. So I would look under the 6.5 number. We got Brian Elliott starting for the Flyers. He's kind of gotten a little bit better. He stepped things up for the Flyers recently. And as we know, this Flyers team, they've improved as the weeks have gone on, but they have to step things up defensively. They can score, guys. They just got to get stops. They got to be defensive.
Speaking of a surprise, Andrew, we'll go to you on this game. Bobrovsky's in net for Columbus, and man, I don't get it. They traded yesterday for Kincaid. That set up, Bobrovsky looks like he's not going to sign next year with them. I thought it set up maybe a big potential blockbuster with Bobrovsky later on in the day. It didn't. Now they've got 2 starting goalies. None of it makes sense. But with that said, they're playing Pittsburgh tonight. Columbus minus 160. The over and under is 6.5. Pittsburgh has won, well, they haven't won in 2 games, but they have been playing much better hockey in the second half of the season. Not so much in their last 10 games. Columbus, though, is really starting to put the pedal on their gas. They won their last 2 games, including against San Jose, which is one of the meanest teams in all of hockey right now. I think the total is too high. I think when Pittsburgh does win games, they win games because they hold teams down. I think we're going to get a real strong defensive effort from the Penguins tonight. And look, Columbus has shut 2 teams out in a row. 6.5 is way too high. I see this game as a 2-1, 3-1 game. I like the under.
Yeah, this is pretty funny just because there's so many games on the card. Obviously, we're going to have different thoughts and stuff like that. But I agree with you with what you said about the Penguins, Prez, but I feel like it's just not going to happen. I feel like with the way they're playing right now, they just can't seem to get any defensive breaks. I mean, they're going to have to score 5 goals to get their next win, it seems to me. I mean, that defensive breakdown against the Flyers, I mean, if you guys watched that outdoor classic game, that's kind of embarrassing. That's a tough one. If this Pittsburgh Penguins team misses the playoffs, that's an absolute disaster for them. It's very disappointing. Total's gone over in 8 of their last 12 on the road, 5 of their last 6 against Columbus on the road. And let's face it, guys, I mean, Prez, I heard you talking about it a lot to us off air. This team is stacked up. I mean, Atkinson, Duchesne, Panarin, Dzingel, Dubois, Borkstrand. I mean, they got so many guys. Nick Foligno. They got guys that can put the puck in the back of the net, plain and simple. And I think that realistically, goaltending hasn't been a great thing for Pittsburgh either. So, for me, it's more of a prove me wrong thing here with this one for Pittsburgh. I think that Columbus is stacked up offensively, and they'll show that tonight.
Alex, just real quick, I don't even want to talk about this game. What I want to talk about is, have you taken a look at the lines for Columbus to win the Stanley Cup? I know it's a long shot, but there's got to be value here. I mean, this team is going for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going all in, too, and if they don't make it through, at least to the conference final here, I would think this would be an absolute bust because, like you said, they're treating Panarin and Bobrovsky now like free agent rentals because we know they're not coming back to – and the thing I worry about here with this game more so is that you got all these pieces coming in. It's going to take a while for them to gel.
Of course.
You have Dzingel and Duchesne kind of familiar with one another, but all together it's going to take a minute, and we've seen Pittsburgh – dominate Columbus. They've won 9 of the last 10 games. This is a team that's knocked them out of the playoffs in 2 of their 3 all-time appearances. This is going to be a club that's going to be really fired up. Like I said, Pittsburgh, they know their backs are pretty much against the wall in their minds. Obviously, they're a team that's still within the race, but the way that they've kind of slowed down a bit and like I said, lost back-to-back games, things we don't see from them in the second half of the season usually. I think Pittsburgh has a good performance here tonight. I like them as a dog.
He's Alex B. Smith. The other guy is Andrew McInnis. I'm the Prez. You're watching Puck Time. Tomorrow will be Alex and Carmine Bianco. Make sure to tune in. Alex, I think the game of the day, brother, Sharks versus Boston. I mean, both teams are absolutely on fire. We know the Sharks have lost 3 of their last 6 games, but before that, it was just a constant barrage of winning. Boston as well. Boston has won 7 of their last 8 games. They did lose to St. Louis, but it wasn't a shootout, so they got a point, and they've gotten a point in their last 8 games. This game is a doozy, and what I like about it is that we saw what San Jose did on the road against Pittsburgh. They beat Pittsburgh 4-0. They beat Detroit, but who cares? This team can play on the road right now. It's a pick'em game. It's under or over 6.5. I find, and we've spoken about this before, when 2 good teams get together and both teams can score, like a Winnipeg versus Tampa Bay or a Tampa Bay versus the Leafs. For some strange reason, these games tend to go under the total.
I agree.
I like the under here. I also like the Bruins.
Yeah, I've been leaning with the Bruins, even though they've got some injury questions. Torrey Krug and Kevin Miller, both defensemen, are questionable for this game tonight. Those are 2 guys they're really going to need, like I said, because San Jose, we've talked about it on this show all year. They're slow, but they're efficient offensively. And so when they get in the offensive zone, they settle up, they settle in. They know what shots to choose, what places to shoot the puck at, and they usually often go into the back of the net. So Boston's got to have their defensemen ready and healthy. But I expect to see a good effort from this Bruins team tonight. Like I said, coming off the 2-1 shutout loss against San Jose, that's not a bad loss at all, considering that St. Louis has been playing lights out hockey as well. So I think Boston does get back and they win this game. This could be really close. Might want to look at the draw here in regulation. Well, I wouldn't be shocked to see this one go into overtime or a shootout.
That's a great point. Andrew, real quick, what do you think?
No, I agree with the under in that one. I think, everyone talks about the speed and the quickness and the talent this Bruins team has, but you also have to look at the experience they have. And to me, experience means, just playing strategic, smart hockey. They're not worried about beating teams by 4 or 5 goals. They're worried about picking up a win, picking up a point each and every night. And right now, I believe it's 13 straight games with a point for this Bruins team. So I believe they'll really protect their end and play some great defensive hockey tonight. And that's how they stay successful, especially with their goaltending. I mean, you can pretty much say that they have 2 number 1 goaltenders right now on their team, I think. And that's really helping them big time. Prez, if you're seeing a 6.5 at this one, I definitely like that one. I'm just seeing a 6. So either way, I like the under for sure.
Yeah, no, there are 6.5s on the board. Alex, 25-1 for the Blue Jackets to win the Stanley Cup. That's 3.8% chance of winning. I think there's value there, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Metropolitan Division is always a dogfight, especially when it comes down to those first 2 rounds in the playoffs. I could see them escaping from that. Like I said, the thing is, can they hurdle over a Toronto or a Tampa Bay or even a Montreal should they sneak in and get that far on that other quadrant?
And I'll make the argument they can. And the reason is, look, they've got top-notch goaltending, and we've seen this before. You get to the playoffs, your goalie stands on his head, he Patrick Waghs them, he Martin Brodeurs them to death. And they can score. They have 3 forward lines that are loaded with talent, a really good checking 4th line. I mean, do I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup? No, but at 25-1 odds, I think it's worth a flyer. Put $100 down, and maybe you can get a nice hedge later on. So I actually like that bet because this team is all in. It's cup or bust.
And they add one more thing too quickly. Keith Kincaid's a huge pickup because even though if you look at his numbers, they've been kind of the lowest numbers of any qualifying goals in the NHL this year. But you have to understand New Jersey's defense has been atrocious all season. So he's actually one of the solid, better goaltenders in the league the last couple of years. And if Bobrovsky should kind of falter in the playoffs, which we've seen before, I think Kincaid would be able to step in, like you said, and steal some games and could possibly steal a series or 2.
Yeah. That I agree with that, because I think that's really important for people to realize that they're handicapping, is that if you see a goaltender that's playing on a very, very weak team and his, goals against average isn't very good, Prez, this from playing even just, your rec hockey, doesn't mean you're a bad goaltender. It just means your team is not playing well in front of you. Look at the save percentage. Look how many shots they're getting each night. That'll tell you how they're doing.
Yeah, and it's so true. I mean, you see goals all the time. Two forwards down low, the defensemen don't know where to go, and it's an open net, and that's just not on the goalie. And we're seeing these down low goals a lot more in hockey than we were 4 or 5 years ago. The coaches are literally setting guys up down low where they're kind of a foot behind the net, and they just kind of jockey between a foot in front and a foot behind and a foot in front, and they're setting up on both sides. I don't think we've seen the defense make a lot of adjustments towards this new style of setup, and
true.
it's not on the goalie at all. Let's keep going, boys. I want to talk, Alex, we'll go to you. I want to talk about this Ottawa game. They're playing Washington, and look, I was on the over on the Ottawa-Calgary game, and I watched the game. I watched it with my awesome girlfriend, Viv, and I concentrated for at least 2 periods. Are Ottawa in the NHL? Like, do they have an NHL caliber hockey team? This is what was going on through my mind. They had 3 or 4 power plays where they actually couldn't even get it into Calgary's end. They couldn't set it up. They had their center and their winger 5 feet apart during the power play. Nobody understood where to go. The team is a mess. In all seriousness, I have never seen a team play worse than Ottawa played on Sunday night against Calgary.
But Prez, who can score for them now? Who is left?
And now Mark Stone is gone. Washington -1.5. Bottom line, move on. Should we just get to the next game, Alex?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, you're seeing the price. You have to lay 130 to lay the goal and a half. You're getting back plus 110 if you were to take Ottawa. Yeah, I wouldn't even take Ottawa right now plus 2 goals. To be honest, I think it's going to be an absolute blowout for the Caps.
Yeah, Andrew. Anything? No. Let's move on. Okay, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
The Montreal Canadiens. Most ironic name in the history of professional sports.
Explain to the other people that aren't from Canada why that's ironic.
Because they don't even want to be in Canada.
Yeah.
They should be the Montreal Separatists, and that's what I'm calling them from now on. They've lost their last 2 games in a row. I was at a poker tournament last night, 40 guys. The general consensus was if you can't beat New Jersey, you don't deserve to make the playoffs. Look, that's not true. Like, Jesus, Tampa Bay has lost bad games. But with that said, the Montreal Canadiens have lost 6 of their last 8 hockey games. Woohoo! And now they're playing Detroit, who's lost 5 in a row and about 700 of their last 710 hockey games. Montreal is minus 120, give or take. The over and under is 6. Montreal's on a back-to-back here, guys. And not only that, but this is the 3rd game in 4 nights. This team is going to be tired. This team is going to struggle to find goals. Andrew, I go to you. I know Detroit is playing to the over. I don't know how many goals Montreal is going to score in this game. I like Detroit. I like the under.
Yeah, well, this is what I'll say. If you do like Montreal, you're getting a decent price that you wouldn't usually get if they weren't 1 on a back-to-back, if they didn't 2 just lose to New Jersey in embarrassing fashion, and if they just didn't 3 be on this terrible streak right now. So as far as that goes, the number you're getting is great if you're a Habs fan. If you like Detroit, I don't know, because you want to get a lot is plus value, in my opinion, if you're playing this Montreal team.
I mean, that's a good point, because Detroit is really that bad. It is a good point. And look, I'm actually not betting on this game, but yeah, I mean, Detroit in the under for me in my leans. So what's your bottom line?
But bottom line, I actually would go with the Alex B. Smith special with the over in the first period. I think that they come out here. I don't see any defense from Detroit. I see an angry, pissed off Montreal team. Drouin's questionable, but people have to step up. Niemi's in nets tonight for the Canadiens. And like you mentioned, I mean, you called it, Prez. The total's gone over in 5 of the last 6 when these two teams have met. So let's hope we see the same thing.
Except I like the under. Alex, any quick thoughts on this
First period
game?
over, full game under. How about that?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I look at that as well too. You got this is a Detroit team that's gone 5-1 to the over the last 6 first periods, and this I can see this where be they start off with a little bit of energy and then they kind of settle in, and then with these two teams settling in, it's going to be more of a slower pace, lower scoring game. So I'm right with Andrew on that first period over and then full game under. Definitely like the full game under at 6, only landed minus $1.05.
Alex, let's talk about Minnesota. They've won 3 games in a row, 2-1 against St. Louis, 3-2 against Detroit, and they beat the Rangers 4-1. 2 of those games have been on the road. They're going into Winnipeg. Winnipeg is playing the worst hockey they have all season. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, but they did play excellent in Vegas, winning 6-3. Patrick Laine is nowhere to be seen. With that said, we've got Winnipeg at minus 155 and an over and under of 6. I like Winnipeg in regulation here. This is a bounce-back game. I do not believe in this Minnesota team. I think they're not nearly as good as even their 30-27 record, frankly. I think this is a mismatch of serious proportion, and Minnesota is getting an angry Winnipeg team. The Jets in regulation at even money.
Yeah, I agree with you in that spot. And I also like the under here in this. Even though Winnipeg has gone over 9 of their last 13 games, I don't see where the scoring is going to come from Minnesota. They just traded Michael Granlund to Nashville. With Granlund, Niederreiter, and Charlie Coyle all traded in the last week, they've lost 34 goals and 66 assists. That's 100 points of production they've lost in their lineup. And this is an offense that's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde all season long. So where Minnesota gets their scoring from at this point, I have no idea. Koivu's done for the year. Pontus Aberg, it was sick the last couple games. He's questionable for tonight. I just don't know where it comes from. So I like the under here, but Winnipeg has played very well at home, 8-3 their last 11 games at home, and they've won 6 of the last 7 meetings at home against Minnesota as well. So I lean with the same side you're on, Winnipeg and regular.
Andrew, we don't have time to get your opinion on this game. My apologies. We are running way late, and I have a meeting with
I agree with you.
Yeah.
He agrees. I have a meeting with my accountant today, which I'm going to be late for. St. Louis Blues hosting the Preds. Oh, the Preds squeaked out a win last night, dude. 3-2 against Edmonton. You liked Edmonton plus 1.5 yesterday on the show. St. Louis finally come down to earth a little bit, have lost 2 of their last 3 games. But, look, they were at Minnesota and they came away with a point. We got St. Louis at minus 150. The over and under is 5.5. And here's my bottom line. I understand St. Louis is playing incredible hockey. I understand that they are potentially the hottest team in all of hockey in the last 4 or 5 weeks. But what I also understand is Nashville is just better. If Nashville played a 7-game series against St. Louis right now, they would win that series. I am getting Nashville as a dog. I am taking them even in a back-to-back environment. St. Louis is going to start coming down to earth. They are a sell team to me right now. I like Nashville. Andrew?
Yeah, that's really. I actually really am surprised by your take with that, Press. 'Cause I remember like months ago, like when I first started doing videos with you, you were buying in on St. Louis. So it's it's cool to see how you kind of change your perspective on them through the season. And I agree. I mean, once you find a team kind of go through their big high, there has to be a low somewhere. And that's a really good point you made about the whole 7-game series thing. Not to mention, I believe we're going to see Wayne Simmons on the second line here tonight, and he will make a difference.
Oh yeah.
He's not just the bump and grind guy people are making him out to be. That's what's kind of bothering me, Prez. I mean, he is a talented player, and that's what makes him great is that he's also aggressive, physical, strong, but he can also score and move the puck up the ice. So, I've been saying this for a while, but the depth, the lines that they have and the defensive power, I think that when you got a guy like PK Subban scoring for you and getting points every single night, Ellis, those guys, when your defense are better than some of the guys in the opposition, a lot of the times, I think that's really impressive. And I think that they'll dominate this matchup. We're getting a really good price as well.
Yeah, look, I told you to buy on the Blues a month ago. They went on a 300 game win streak. I'm telling you now, they are a sell team. Alex, Florida against Arizona. Florida won last night. I went 2-1 last night in my pay picks. My only loss was on Colorado. It was an overtime win from Florida. They've now won 2 games in a row and 5 of their last 6. They're playing Arizona, who's playing maybe not the best hockey of the season for them, maybe the best hockey ever for them. They've won 3 games in a row, 2 of them on the road. They're not completely out of it right now. Both teams are in the hunt, although Florida, given the conference they're in, is a little further back. We got Arizona at minus 135. The under and over is 6. The bottom line for me is I like the Coyotes here. Again, we got Florida in a back-to-back, 3rd game in 5 nights. Arizona at least slightly rested and have only played 1 game since February 21st. I like the Coyotes.
Well, I got to go against you here. I like Florida. I leaned with Florida last night as a dog, and I like them as a dog here again. And with good reason. You look at that Arizona, their last game, that was Shane Doan's retirement night. He hung up his 19 in the rafters. He was the only captain they had forever in Arizona. A staple in the franchise and the community, and everybody was fired up, and the team picked up on that, got a 4-1 win against Winnipeg. So you got a Florida team now, like I said, they're playing some decent hockey. And one thing to note about Colorado in that game, with that loss, their 12th loss in overtime or a shootout, if they miss the playoffs, it's going to be because they can't close games out in that extra frame. But Florida, I think they're rolling with momentum right now, 1-5 of the last 6. I like Florida here, plus price.
Andrew, Dallas against the Knights tonight, over and under 5.5. Vegas is at minus 215. Dallas just beat Chicago. They, with that said, they've lost 4 of their last 6 games. Vegas has lost 3 in a row, dude. And the bottom line is, I like this Vegas team. I think they just made a great pickup in Mark Stone. But I can't lay minus 200 with a team on a 3-game losing streak. And not only that, they've lost 6 of their last 7. So they outright haven't been playing good hockey for at least 2 weeks. I've got to lean on the dog here, but this game ultimately for me is a big fat pass.
It's definitely not a pass for me, Prez. This is a client play I have posted at the website for the night, and but just looking at it, I will say this is one of those games where it's very important to recognize the roster changes and the injuries as well on these teams. For Dallas, of course, you look to get Matt Zuccarello. He scores a goal. He gets a point in his very first game. Goes ahead and breaks his arm. That's sad to see. You got a guy like Jamie Benn. He's doubtful for tonight. You got a guy like Mark Mathot. As we all know, he's been out for the entire season. He's not playing tonight. So then you look at Vegas right now. Of course, they pick up Mark Stone. Their top 2 lines are dangerous, but it's a question of defense and matchups right now because, as we know, Dallas has been scoring as well. And they're kind of, as we've all talked about, they're an under team. We thought they were a lower scoring team. But overall, I think this should be a really good matchup. And I've got this play posted on the site, Prez. So I'll leave it at that and maybe throw it over to Alex.
Alex, give me your quick thoughts, and we got to go.
This is a pass for me if I were to look at anything possibly maybe land the puck line with Vegas here. Like I said, I think they're going to be a little more fired up with their changes. And Dallas, a huge blow losing Zuccarello, had a goal and assist in that game in the win against the Hawks before breaking his arm and missing 4 weeks. So Vegas would be the side I lean on, but I'm passing. There's better games on the card tonight.
He's Alex B. Smith. The other kid is Andrew McInnis, SportsMemo.com. I'm the Prez. Boys, the show's over. It was a great one. Good luck tonight for all of you. And guys, make sure to buy that 7-day package. NHL plays only $35 for any one of us. Use the promo code NHL35. Go Leafs. We're out of here.
Cheers, guys.